About 4 years ago, I took a class looking at the Arctic as an emerging world region that blended the physical sciences, the social sciences, the humanities, trying to get a very interdisciplinary look at what is happening in the Arctic and how do all of these topics meet and influence each other.
This International Policy Institute Arctic Fellows group team has been in place since last spring to train our students, the students in the Jackson School and outside the Jackson School, in how to do policy relevant work. So what is that and how does that look different than traditional scholarly work? So what we've been engaged in is writing policy articles, in writing log articles for the World Policy Institute for their Arctic in context, and in training in how to take research and develop it into policy effective work. And this trip itself fits in that, what is policy effective work? I mean, part of it is being on site somewhere and being able to report back on that. What does that mean for international relations?
Wind measurements and how to map out.
I've always been really interested in Scandinavia and Scandinavian craft and issues specific to colder regions. Our first piece in the fall was about policy, and I didn't really know for me what that meant. I didn't know what policy would look like in some of my interests, and I ended up being inspired by an exhibit I went to in New Mexico in the fall, which was about Annie Putuguk and her mother and her grandmother, their artist history. And so I was really interested in where the intersection of policy and art would kind of meet. Like, what is the capacity of art in changing policy or influencing policy or reflecting policy? I'm still asking that question. There was an exhibit that's here now, I Am Inuit, that was also at the Fairbanks showing I Am Inuit. And the photographer was there, the organizers, the producers of that exhibit were there, and just discussing how showing these narratives and images from various communities can just shed some basic light. One of the producers of We Breathe Again, the documentary that was premiered during the beginning of the Fairbanks week, one of those producers was also the woman who was the leader for this climate justice rally that was happening in downtown Fairbanks in conjunction with all of the events going on with the Arctic Week and with the Arctic Council kind of passing hands. So I think I saw these Indigenous leaders wearing multiple hats.
What really was the highlight of the conference were the times when there are people together in a room sort of sharing their stories and their perspectives, and that was framed for me by the roundtable on Indigenous knowledge.
So today where we have a short time to have a conversation about Indigenous knowledge, and
that theme sort of followed my experience throughout the week, and I was able to just sit at tables with people who were coming from all sorts of different backgrounds.
That's pretty amazing stuff for, I think, students to see. There were a number of examples about how the Indigenous influence in the Arctic Council is increasing, it's strengthening, it's becoming more effective, and that seems to be the direction we're going. Not only that, there were two very interesting meetings about what Indigenous knowledge is and what does Indigenous knowledge really mean. And one of the fellows that was presenting at that meeting said, there's a major change happening in how we understand international relations as a result of the integration of Indigenous thinking into the working of the Arctic Council. And it's true, again, that we could just read those presentations, they're available online, but when you get to meet those people or you get to see them, you're having a coffee near them during the break, you hear them speaking about what they accomplished, it just becomes more real, it becomes more interesting, it brings it alive.
Part of the excitement about being here is that you actually get to physically see the people who are making these decisions. You get to talk with them. There's been a lot of breakout sessions where it's like, we're going to give you a problem. Here's a whole group of people who are coming at it from all different aspects of things. Work together, figure out how you're going to tackle this problem, provide a solution, And then ultimately, your work is going to go up to the people who are actually going to be implementing it. I mean, you can really affect a lot of change, and through those partnerships and through those keys, that sort of person-to-person diplomacy, that's how we ensure that we're going to continue collaborating in the future.